District, and MCM Mufulira Secondary School in Mufulira District. Madam First Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Thereafter, there were some urgent matters without notice that were considered on the floor of the House yesterday. Just remember that this is a provision in Standing Order 142. And so yesterday, the first matter that was indeed raised on the floor of the House was a matter by Commencement Member of Parliament, Mr. Kangombe. And his matter was on the alleged non-compliance by some companies in the mining sector with regard to the legal requirement to give priority to local companies in the supply of goods and services. And this matter was inadmissible.
The second matter came from Shiwangandu Member of Parliament, Mr. Stephen Kampyongo, and the subject matter was on the alleged bias in the recruitment of health professionals and the widespread perception of corruption in the recruitment process. This matter was equally inadmissible.
And then the third matter that came up yesterday, which was also inadmissible, was raised by Chienge Member of Parliament, Ms. Given Katuta. Her matter was on Zambian homeowners near Kamwala Remand Prison who are allegedly being pressured into selling their properties to foreign nationals of Asian origin, raising serious concerns relating to the protection of citizens' property rights. This matter, as I indicated, was inadmissible.
After those three urgent matters without notice under Standing Order 142, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer numbers 303 to 309 under Standing Order 80. And so the House adjourned accordingly at 16:19 hours. So this is business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday, Wednesday, 15th April 2026. Just now, we shift our attention and we look at today's order paper. Mota.
Thank you very much, Matimba. And in case you've just tuned in, this is Parliament TV, the station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. So we're just giving a summary of the business that took place on the floor of the House yesterday. And just about now, we shift our attention to today's business. And this can be, of course, followed if you have access to the website. Just get yourself the order paper, and you can download this order paper, which is basically a document that shows the agenda of business in the House. So we do expect some announcements, if there will be any. We also expect urgent matters without notice, if there will be any. But then we also expect a ministerial statement this afternoon. This ministerial statement will be delivered on the floor of the House by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And the ministerial statement is on the alleged secret recruitment of police officers. You recall that on Tuesday, there was actually an urgent matter without notice that was raised, in which the Member of Parliament who raised it, that is Chawama Member of Parliament, he really wanted to find out more about this. And Madam First Deputy Speaker did direct the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to come up with the ministerial statements just to clear the air. So this is what is expected to come up this afternoon in that ministerial statement.
And we also expect the House to consider two questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. These are questions of ordinary nature, and we do expect question 310 to come from Mr. Kaladwe Mukosa, who is Chinsali Member of Parliament. His question will be directed to the Minister of Health. He wants to find out when the government will procure utility vehicles to ferry the health workers at Chinsali General Hospital.
Then the second question for oral answer under Standing Order this afternoon is a question that's going to be posed by Kalabo Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Chingamiyutu. His question will be directed at the Minister of Education. He asks his question in 5 parts. The first part, he wants to know how many teachers of forms 1 to 4 classes were employed countrywide as of December 2025. In the second part of his question, he wants to know whether the number of teachers of Form 1 to 4 classes that were employed countrywide as of December 2025 was adequate to effectively implement the new curriculum. In the third part, he wants to know, if not, whether the government has any plans to employ additional teachers. And in the fourth part of his question, he asks, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, the Member of Parliament wants to know why.
After consideration of those two questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80, we do expect Mulowezi Member of Parliament, Mr. Raphael Mavenga, urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Media Information and Communication Technologies on Child Online Protection Measures in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 9th April 2026.
Then we do expect yet another motion. This time around, it will be moved by Mr. Michelo Wengwa, Member of Parliament. He's moving a motion to adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources. In moving this motion, he's actually urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources on the review of the state of farm blocks in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th April 2026. That indeed will mark the end of business on the floor of the House after consideration of that.
And in case you want to access this order paper can be accessed on the National Assembly of Zambia website, which is www.parliament.gov.za.
Okay, and in a short while we do expect to see Madam Speaker's procession making its way to the chamber, and once we see that, that indeed will signal the start of business. So there we have it on your screen. You can see Madam Speaker's procession just making its way into the chamber so that business indeed commences. It being a Thursday, business does commence at 14:30. We leave you in the House for the live parliamentary proceedings.
Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those who blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen.
The bells are ringing. That signifies that a quorum has not yet been constituted. By the standing orders, it is expected that business can only commence once a quorum is constituted, and a quorum is about 1/3 of all members of parliament. That's about 56 members of parliament. So 56 members of parliament have to be present in the house for any business in the house to take place, be it at the beginning of the sitting or during the sitting, or indeed after suspension of business. A quorum has to be present for business of the house to indeed happen on the floor of the house.
And so once the quorum has been formed, we do expect business of the house to commence. And today on the order paper, we do have announcements if there will be any, urgent matters without notice if there will be any. We also have one ministerial statement that is expected to be presented by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. This is on the alleged secret recruitment of police officers.
Okay, and then the other question that we do expect to be considered on the floor of the House is a question that will be posed by Kalabo Central Member of Parliament. That's Mr. Chingamyutu, directed to the Minister of Education. He wants to know how many teachers of Forms 1 to 4 classes were employed countrywide as of December 2025. Also, he wants to know whether the number of teachers for Forms 1 to 4 classes who were employed as of December 2025 was adequate to effectively implement the new curriculum. If not, whether the government has any plans to employ additional teachers. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, he wants to know why. So those are the two questions under Standing Order number 80 that we expect the House to consider today. Martin, I noticed that there are two motions. I know we've talked about them, but just for the benefit of our dear listener dear viewer rather, who's just tuned into Parliament TV and could have missed that. The first motion?
Yes, the first motion is expected to be moved by Molowezi Member of Parliament, Mr. Raphael Mavenga, urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies
but just
on
for the benefit of our
protection
dear
measures in Zambia
listener
for the
who has
session
dear viewer
of the
rather,
13th
who's
National
just
Assembly
tuned into
laid on the table
Parliament
of the
TV
House
and
on
could have missed
Thursday,
that. The
9th
first
April
motion?
2020. Yes, the first motion is expected to...
Honorable members, I have 3 announcements to make. The first one, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Sentinel Kabitaka School in Solwezi District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seat. The second announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Kabwe Trust Secondary School in Kabwe District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seat. The last announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Masabo Trust School Limited in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seat. We now move to urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam, thank you so much. Madam, my urgent matter without notice is directed at the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. Madam Speaker, I am very worried that the Honorable Minister is accused of preventing ACC from arresting corrupt ministers. Madam, this has got a serious impact on the integrity of the UPND government. Such allegations, Madam, should not be taken lightly. This is why I am requesting you to direct the minister to clarify these allegations, which are all over social media, that 2 ministers in the UPND are corrupt, and ACC wanted to arrest them, but Honorable Jack Mwimbu, the Minister of Internal Affairs, is the one who is preventing the arrests. Don't you think that it is necessary for him to clarify whether these matters are actually there existing in this government? Madam Speaker, I seek your direction on the matter.
Thank you.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Point of order.
Just a minute, maybe I make a ruling. The Honorable Member for Lunte, I think we have always told the House that we do not rely on issues coming from social media. We don't rely on that source. And moreover, the Honorable Member for Lunte, these urgent matters, they are supposed to be matters which might affect life or property. Is there going to be loss of life from that statement that you've said? So the Honorable Member for Lunte, your urgent matter without notice is not admissible. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise on a very serious point of order based on Standing Order 71 and the article of the Constitution that borders on the freedom of speech and the protection of the rights of members on the floor of this House. Madam Speaker, I have noted with concern that the originators of these scurrilous reports targeting individuals who are members of this august House, after publishing the reports, those malicious, defamatory, criminal, libelous reports, they come to this House and make accusations against members because they know, Madam Speaker, that they enjoy privilege on the floor of this House. It is dangerous, it's not allowed, it's immoral, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member, Madam Speaker, knows that those reports are false. The ACC have published a statement refusing. He is one of the authors, Madam Speaker, of those reports. And then he comes here and starts making those accusations. What power do I have under the ACC to stop the investigations of any minister or stop the allegation or the arrest of any minister? He was a minister and is a senior member of this House. Why should he expose his ignorance pertaining to the law which has passed? Is it in order, Madam Speaker, to make defamatory statements which have no basis against innocent ministers and members of this august House, when he knows that what he's doing is not allowed on the floor of this House? You cannot cast aspersions against your colleagues when there's no evidence. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lunte, you were not given the floor. The floor was given to the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs. So my ruling is that the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, I've heard your point of order. That is the more reason I did not admit his agent matter without notice, because his source actually is not reliable. Like I mentioned, we do not rely on social media. However, honorable members, let's try to be sensitive to what issues we are bringing on the floor of the House. When we know that the source where that information is coming from is not reliable, then we stand here and bring the matter to the floor of the House, where the whole nation is listening. Let's try to bring issues that have got evidence so that the people of Zambia will get something out of it. But we know very well that that issue came from social media, and we are trying to make the whole nation listen to that when we know that it's not true. The source is not reliable. So please, let's try to be responsible and bring issues that have got evidence. So like I ruled, that matter was not admitted simply because the source is not reliable, according to the rules of this House. That is my ruling. We make progress. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank you most sincerely for according me this opportunity to render a ministerial statement on the urgent matter without notice raised by the Honorable Bright Nundwe, Member of Parliament for Chawama constituency. The matter concerns alleged recruitment of 4 Southern police officers without adherence to required procedures and Treasury authority. Madam Speaker, the ongoing exercise has attracted mixed reactions from members of the public, with some expressing concern and labeling the process as secretive. It is therefore both necessary and appropriate that I have to provide a comprehensive clarification to this august House and through it to the nation at large. Madam Speaker, allow me to begin by reaffirming that the Zambia Police Service sought and was duly granted Treasury authority to recruit 4 Southern constables. This decision was informed by a comprehensive human resource needs assessment undertaken by the service, which identified critical staffing gaps that required urgent attention in order to enhance service delivery, strengthen public safety, and improve operational effectiveness across the country. Madam Speaker, firstly, the service utilized internal recruitment mechanisms to absorb specialized professionals and qualified civilian employees who have been serving diligently within the Zambia Police Service in various categories and capacities. These individuals include medical personnel working in police health facilities who have over time demonstrated commitment and competence and had already been earmarked for eventual integration into the mainstream police establishment, subject to undergoing the requisite training. In the same vein, skilled tradesmen and women from the engineering, projects, and maintenance department were also considered. These officers possess critical technical expertise that supports the operational readiness of the service. Their integration into the mainstream establishment corrects a long-standing structural gap and ensures that their contributions are formally recognized within the police framework. Madam Speaker, the recruitment process further drew from established institutional talent pools such as the police band. The Zambia Police Service maintains structured and traceable linkages with learning institutions and church organizations that run brass bands programs. Through these partnerships, the service is able to identify and nurture young individuals with specialized musical skills that are essential for ceremonial duties and national functions. It is important to note that such skills require years of training. Additionally, sportsmen and women affiliated with various police clubs were also incorporated into the exercise. These athletes already represent the Zambia Police Service with distinction in national and international competitions. Their formal absorption not only strengthens discipline and team spirit within the service, but also promotes institutional identity and contributes to national pride. Madam Speaker, a key pillar, Madam Speaker, I want to repeat, a key pillar of this recruitment exercise was the utilization of the 2023 recruitment database. Honorable members may recall that during the 2023 exercise, the service received in excess of 100,000 applications for approximately 4,000 positions. Following a rigorous and transparent selection process, over 10,000 candidates were found to be eligible. However, due to limited vacancies at the time, only 4,224 were recruited, leaving a pool of more than 6,000 pre-qualified candidates. From this verified and credible database, candidates were selected to fill the current vacancies. This approach ensured efficiency and reduced administrative costs as the candidate had already undergone initial screening, including the verification of credentials and other eligibility requirements. Madam Speaker, the selected candidates commenced reporting on Sunday, 12th April 2026, at the 3 designated training institutions, namely Zambia Police College in Lai, Geoffrey Mukuma Training School in Kafue, and the School of Public Order Maintenance in Kafinsa, Kitwe. Upon reporting, the recruits are undergoing further screening and verification processes to ensure that only those who meet all prescribed standards proceed to full training. Thereafter, they will undergo formal police training and will be deployed to perform core policing functions in line with the mandate of the service. Madam Speaker, let me also emphasize that this recruitment exercise has been conducted in strict adherence to the provisions of Article 197 of the Constitution of Zambia, which requires that recruitment into the defense and national security services reflects the regional diversity of the people of Zambia. Accordingly, due consideration was given to regional representation in order to uphold the important constitutional principle and promote national inclusivity. Madam Speaker, it is important to underscore that prioritizing internal candidates and previously vetted applicants was not only strategic, but also equitable. It would have been unjust to overlook individuals who are already serving the nation within the Zambia Police Service, or those who had already previously met all recruitment requirements in favor of initiating an entirely new external process. This approach, therefore, ensured fairness, continuity, and recognition of service and merit. Madam Speaker, I wish to assure this House and the general public that the recruitment process was neither secretive nor irregular. Rather, it was a targeted exercise designed to address specific institutional needs while upholding constitutional provisions. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to reaffirm that the Zambia Police remains committed to professionalism and the continued enhancement of public safety and security across the Republic. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. The Honorable Member for Chama North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that ministerial statement. Madam Speaker, I think the people of Zambia are not against the government employing government workers. What the people of Zambia are complaining is upholding transparency and accountability in the entire employment process. Honorable Minister, I think the Zambian people had no problems with the employment of teachers and health workers because they were told that they were in the database, so that was not contentious. But indeed, if these officers, potential officers were in the database, what was so difficult to inform the nation that this is what the government is doing? Don't you think that if you did that, this contrivance was not going to be there? I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, that's why I have come to this House, to explain to the nation what the Zambia Police did. It may have been an omission not to have informed that they will use the database, but I'm now confirming that the Zambia Police Service used the database.
The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given to ask a follow-up question to the Minister. Honorable Minister, it's good that you brought this matter so that the Zambians can understand what is in the offing as regards this matter. I would just like you to compare and contrast the characteristics regarding the engagements or recruitment of workers in various government institutions between the previous regime and, of course, the current present government, which is the New Dawn government. How the recruitments were conducted then under PF and comparing to the present New Dawn government, so that Zambians can know who is actually doing the correct thing then or now. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the nation may have forgotten that under the PF regime and through their constitutional arrangement, all those who are supposed to be engaged in government were supposed to be card-carrying and very loyal PF and uncompromising to the values of PF. That was the policy and the constitutional requirement of PF. For us, Madam Speaker, the recruitment process is open to every Zambian, irrespective of whether somebody is PF, Tonse, or Pamosi, or Ukwa. They have been employed. And Madam Speaker, I stand here without fear of any contradiction that this same one, the recruitment, which is being questioned, if you look at the list of those who have been recruited, you will find that for the first time in the history of this country, the face of Zambia, Madam Speaker, is reflected. I challenge anyone to look at that list. And I'm aware, even the PF themselves, they are very critical senior officials, have said this reflects the face of Zambia. But they are saying, Madam Speaker, that these policemen we are recruiting, they have been recruited in order to beat them. We have no intention of beating anybody. We are law-abiding, Madam Speaker. These are policemen, these are your relatives, these are your friends who have been recruited from throughout the country. If there's anyone who doubts what I'm saying, I would like them to indicate to me which part of the country is not reflected in this particular recruitment. Madam Speaker, I'm aware, and we have evidence, that some of the recruitments that were done under PF were recruitments that never reflected the face of Zambia. Yes. There was one recruitment, Madam Speaker, where I think it was more than 200 officers were recruited. All those officers, Madam Speaker, apart from one who was a dependent of somebody from another region, was the one who was bearing a different name. Out of the 200. We do not want to create division in the country. But if we are being challenged, Madam Speaker, we can bring the evidence here. That is there. But us, we believe in one Zambia, one nation. One nation, one people. That's what we believe in. And we are going to continue being fair. Madam Speaker, I heard yesterday there were allegations that even in the recruitment, the database based the recruitment in health, there was corruption. There was corruption in the police recruitment. Madam Speaker, when you are living in a glass house, don't undress. For the people outside who see your nakedness. Don't undress. I rest my case.
The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, it's very sad that the minister...
Let's give chance to the person who is on the floor. You will come later.
Madam Speaker, this is a very sensitive matter that I was expecting the minister not to politicize, because the Zambians are watching and they have seen that all those who have been recruited are from UPND cadres. I'll give you one example, Madam Speaker. All those names that are coming from Nakonde is either one is connected, is either one is from the UPND chairman, and then the minister there, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Nakonde. Please, can we be mindful of what we are saying? Do we have evidence, Honorable Member for Nakonde? Order, Honorable Member for Nakonde. You've mentioned to say all the the people that were recruited are UPND cadres. Do you have evidence for that, that the 4,000
Madam Speaker.
4,000 that were recruited are UPND cadres?
Yes, from Nakonde.
You said all the people that were recruited were UPND
From
cadres.
Nakonde, the names that are appearing on that list.
Order,
I know
honorable
them.
member. Order, honorable member. When you started your question, you mentioned clearly to say the people that were recruited were UPND cadres. Then you went on to give an example of the people in Nakonde. Now, those are two different statements. At first, you said all the people that were recruited are UPND cadres. Then you went to Nakonde. Can you please try to be specific? Because we need evidence for that. If you are saying all the people that were recruited are UPND cadres, bring evidence.
Madam Speaker, the first thing is, wait. Madam Speaker, I heard the minister clearly to say they wanted first to consider those who were already working under Zambia police. That's where I'm against that clarification, because most of the candidates, Madam Speaker, who have been recruited from Nakonde, for example, they have never been in any employment. They have never been in any service. But why would the minister today say that they wanted first to give the priority to those who are already in the service? For instance, from Nakonde, there are names that some of them are daughters of either a UPND cadre, either a chairman, either the secretary. And today we are being told that those were in the service. I want to find out, Madam Speaker, why didn't they announce to the Zambian people that there will be a recruitment? Because they are using taxpayers' money. There is no money for UPND. There is no money for any political party. The money that we have is for taxpayers who are Zambians. Madam Speaker, I would want to find out from the minister, why did they do like that, secretly employing only children from their political party? Madam Speaker, I submit.
The honorable member for Nakonde, there are so many issues that you brought out. For the fairness of the question, the honorable member for Nakonde, can you withdraw that all the people that were employed are from UPND, so that now you can raise your question? Just withdraw, unless if you've got evidence, please bring it forward so that we go straight into your question.
Madam Speaker, there was no withdrawal from the minister when he said all those who were being employed under PF were cadres. There were no withdrawal. Let him withdraw as well, Madam Speaker. I'm going to withdraw.
Order, honorable member for Nakonde. Okay. The honorable member for Nakonde. I think we know the rules of the game, of the House. The rules are that you cannot challenge the chairperson. And the issue that was raised by the Honorable Minister for Home Affairs, we take it because he's in the office. He has got all the records with him in the office. So the Honorable Member for Nakonde, you cannot challenge the presiding officer. Our thing is very clear. I said produce evidence. Then you got your question. If you have no evidence for that, withdraw it, because the Zambians are listening. So are you withdrawing, or we move on?
Madam Speaker, if you can go through the list, I have got evidence that all the candidates who are coming from Nakonde, I'm not saying all the people who have been recruited, those especially who are coming from Nakonde are coming from the UPND cadres. So I don't know which one should I withdraw when I know my people in Nakonde.
The honorable member for Nakonde for the last time, I think we are not supposed to waste the time. There are a lot of people indicating here. When you started the question, you clearly mentioned that the people that were employed were coming from the UPND side. Then you went on to give an example of Nakonde. But the issue that I'm asking you to withdraw was the first issue that you mentioned, to say the members that were recruited came from the UPND. Okay, that is what I'm asking you to do. If you don't want, please just indicate we make progress.
Madam Speaker, based on your guidance, I withdraw. Thank you.
I didn't get that.
Based on your guidance, Madam Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you. Did you get the question, Honorable Minister for Home Affairs and Internal Security?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I heard the question very well. And I'm happy. I'm happy, Madam Speaker, to hear confirmation by the honorable member that even members of the public, children, youths from Nakonde have been recruited. It just confirms what I've been saying, that this particular recruitment has the face of Zambia. And I want to state and say to the people of Nakonde that the Honorable Member of Parliament for Nakonde is angry that there are a few members who are from the constituency. And he is not happy that they have been employed. And that they are UPND. And that he doesn't want UPND from Nakonde to be employed. That is his statement. But for us, Madam Speaker, we don't look at political affiliation. And when you look at the list, Madam Speaker, it doesn't even tell you where the person is coming from. I don't know how he checked through that list and confirmed that these are from Nakonde. There's nothing that indicates that the constituency, the district, there's nothing. All what is there is the name of the individual and the NRC. That is what is there. But for him to scrutinize that I don't want my people from Nakonde to appear on that list, I'm shocked. I'm shocked, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the point I'm making is that the recruitment reflects the face of Zambia. There is no way the police service can be asking for a party card when they are recruiting. When people are recruited, they look at the qualifications, academic qualifications, their identity, that's all, and the age. But now it's a confirmation that when they were recruiting, they are looking for cards for you, PF, for you to be recruited. We don't do that, Madam Speaker. We do not. It's taboo. I know that he's saying this is a very emotional matter. I should not bring politics. They are the ones who have brought politics in this matter. Through what they are saying outside and what they are saying here. And because they are bringing in political questions, I will respond politically. Because they want to use this forum. But if they want genuine clarification, I'll give them, Madam Speaker, for the sake of the nation. And that is why I've come here to...
Speaker, when the minister was responding to a question, a follow-up question coming from the honorable member for Kwacha wanted to know how the recruitment was done in the past. He is the one who started responding politically, and I've been here since he has been minister. I've never heard me politicize any of his work. But I have to make a correction, Madam Speaker, because I've got a right. Madam Speaker, the recruitment of Zambia Police Service officers has always been a national exercise, regardless of the number. It is mandatory that the Zambia Police must advertise to the whole nation that they are going to recruit officers of specified age and specified qualifications. And by the time I was leaving Minister of Home Affairs, Madam Speaker, the exercise was being done in all the provinces, meaning each province will be given a share, taking into account demographic.
Order, Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Madam Speaker, I've got a right to make the record clear.
Order. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, I know you've got some information that you want to share with the House, but what we are doing at this moment, we are asking questions on points of clarification. I don't know, it does not qualify to come as a point of order, the information that you are giving us. Is it possible that the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu finds a way of asking the Honorable Minister for Home Affairs? No. Because at the moment, we are looking at the questions on points of clarification.
Madam Speaker, my point of order
has become a debate.
No, I will summarize it.
Is it a question?
It's a point of order, Madam Speaker, so that the record is set straight. Because the statement that the minister has given to this August House is nothing but a damage control statement. Because what has happened in this recruitment is nothing but a national scandal.
The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, can we find another way of bringing that information?
Was the Honorable Minister, Madam Speaker, in order to insinuate that the recruitment of the past, without laying evidence on the floor, were done on partisan lines, when it's actually so suspicious now that the process has not been transparent, no provinces have participated, and there has been no record to take people from the database. These are fiscal jobs that need people to be assessed physically, and before you even look at their qualifications. What has happened, Madam Speaker, is nothing but a national scandal.
Is it a point of order?
Is in order to mislead this August House, Madam Speaker.
I would advise the Honorable Member, because you've debated sufficiently your point of order. It's better you find a way of asking the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs where you are not clear, so that the Honorable Minister can respond. Because the way it is, it's only the Minister who is supposed to respond to the questions. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, you cannot respond to the question. You can only ask. So please, can you find a way, if you've got a question, to ask the Honorable Minister for Home Affairs where you are not clear or where you say it's not correct. So that point of order is not admissible. We make progress. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to join the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security in expressing gratitude that the Honorable MP for Nakonde has clarified that members of the general public have been employed in this exercise. That, Madam Speaker, justifies why a public advert should have been placed. Madam Speaker, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, yesterday indicated to the public that he has heard their complaints in this recruitment process. He further promised that he is working on those issues. We follow, that's our president, so we follow what he says. and
Order,
what he does.
honorable members.
Madam Speaker.
What is your question?
Madam Speaker, what components of this recruitment process is the president going to resolve, given that your statement has clarified that the process was flawless? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with your permission, before I respond to the question that has been raised by the honorable member, I just want to state that me and my colleagues who are members of cabinet swear an oath, which oath requires you to do certain things and not to disclose certain things. If you have been a member of cabinet, in order to justify what you want to do, you cannot start justifying and disclosing what you used to do in cabinet. You can't do that. You can't do that. Madam Speaker, responding to the issue that has been raised by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Lunte, that the President yesterday commented on the issue of recruitment. Yes, he did. And is concerned when members of the public raises issues, he looks into those issues. And by looking at those issues doesn't mean that actually the process is wrong. It doesn't entail that. Because if a member of the public raises an issue with me, I have to check it out. Only after verifying the issues that are raised can I make a decision. Those issues were raised, the President has heard, and you know, certain things you may remedy now, or the remedy may be in the future, in the next process. That's how it works. You don't just, remedy things even when they are correct. The President has heard, and he made a pronouncement that he has heard, because we are a listening government. That's what we do. We are not like others when there were issues pertaining to cameras along the roads. They didn't do anything until certain measures were done. But as we are a listening government, and we have listened to the issues that have been raised by members of the public, if there are any anomalies, we will address those anomalies. That is how we behave as a government. We are leading this government. And that's why, Madam Speaker, in 4 months' time, on the 13th, they will vote for us again. Because we always listen to what the people are saying and we respond. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for allowing me to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Home Affairs. Minister, I was listening very attentively when you were issuing the statement, and I want to commend you for having taken care of the civilians that have been working in the Zambia Police Service. I want to mention here that one of the recruitees is actually from my constituency, who was playing under Kamfisa Police Women's Club. She called me the other day that she has been recruited. Now, you told the nation that you were basing the recruitment on the 2023 data, and you further went to say they have been taken to 3 training camps where they are being further screened to see who is capable, both physically and in terms of everything, before they are taken for further training in terms of police service. I want to find out from you, Honourable Minister, what will happen for those who will be found not to meet the requirements of the screenings and how they are going to be replaced. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Honorable Chiwe, for confirming that one of your constituents has been recruited through this process. Madam Speaker, what happens is this. When the officers or constables, the recruits, are called for training, they will undergo further scrutiny. They have to pass medical tests. Even their qualifications are further vetted by the qualifications authority. If they are found wanting medically qualifications or they forged an NRC, they are sent back. Some are even arrested in the process. Those things happen. They are not unusual, Madam Speaker, as we undergo through this process.
The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, listening to the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs' responses heartbreaks me. Madam Speaker, the youths out there are suffering. They have no jobs and they look forward to opportunities such as the recruitment in the army, in the police, for them to try their lucky. Madam Speaker, before this revelation that actually the government was secretly recruiting the police, there was a letter purporting to come from the ruling UPND instructing their officials to submit names to be recruited in the Zambia Police Service.
The Honorable Member from Pika, where is that letter?
Madam Speaker, even the police issued a statement, a public statement, dismissing that letter. Honorable Anthony Mumba even raised that issue of the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, what is very scary to the Zambian people right now is that this recruitment, Madam Speaker, is under a very sensitive security wing, which is the Zambia Police. You cannot conduct a secret recruitment under a security wing such as the Zambia Police. Madam Speaker, it's uncalled for.
What is the question?
Madam Speaker, I don't even expect politics from the Minister of Home Affairs because this is a national scandal, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member from Pika, before you even call it a scandal, please be factual and please ask questions on points of clarification. Don't debate your question. You are seeking clarification from the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs on the ministerial statement that he gave.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Can you ask the question?
Madam Speaker, 3,000 police officers were needed. And as per procedure and mandate, the Zambia Police was supposed to advertise for recruitment. Honorable Minister, what justification do you have as a ministry to the Zambian people, particularly the youths, for having conducted a secret police recruitment after you instructed your officials to submit names of those they wanted to recruit under the Zambia Police Service? Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, the English I know tells me that when you use the word purported, it shows that it's not true. Even himself knows that it's not true. That's how we use the term purported, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to state on the floor of this House, and for the nation to hear, the UPND cadres are crying They are protesting that they have not been given, they have not been given the chance to be employed. Yes, we are not employing UPND cadres, Madam Speaker. We are employing Zambians. They are up in arms because they think that they have been left out. The policy of this government is to employ Zambians, irrespective of party affiliation. Madam Speaker, I have stated in my statement, and I'm also aware, Madam Speaker, that the same members on the floor of this House have been castigating government for continuously advertising positions. I'm aware. Yes. Madam Speaker, there has been complaints that you keep advertising and the youths are not being recruited. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. When we advertised for teachers, they raised the same issues. And because of the numbers of applicants who responded under education, we decided that we are going to use the database. We didn't want to open it up, leaving people who have been continuously applying. The same under health. We decided we have too many applicants. It's like we are mocking people every time there's an opening. We decided we are going to use the database. In the same vein under police, I've told you that we received more than 100,000 applicants during the 2023 recruitment. And I can tell you, if we had opened again, we are going to have another maybe 200 or 300 applicants. On the database, we are going to have more than 400,000. Madam Speaker, there is one person who has never won an election in Mukuche South, and he is losing elections. And especially that there is a new constituency where there is a strong candidate who will beat him by 8 hours. He knows that he can continuously make noise because he's not coming back. Madam Speaker, the point I'm making is that it doesn't make sense to continuously advertise, ask for people to advertise when you are not.
Honorable Chair, the objects of the Coffee Amendment Bill.
So what we are doing,
board
Madam Speaker,
and
is to ensure
in the
that
sense that
we
there is
look at the
benefit
database
from it, and we are
see those who qualify so that we can not doing anything secretive. I've explained why we did that. And I've apologized that if there was an omission, let the nation forgive us. But we did the correct thing. The process may have been flawed, but the outcome is the best in the history. And I want to make this statement very clear. There has never been any advert which was allocating specific positions to certain areas, like, in my ministry. There's never been. We recruit people according to the law. And that's what we do. You can't say, no, for Northern Province, we want 100. How come, Madam Speaker, in all these past years, members of the public have been complaining that certain regions were not benefiting from the recruitment if there was a quota? There was no quota, Madam Speaker. There was no quota. It's only now where we are saying the face of Zambia must be reflected. And we have done that. I challenge all of you to get hold of the list, and you will see that the face of Zambia is reflected, including those in Inakonde who have been identified. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Before the honorable member for Shangombo comes in, there was an indication raised for a point of order by the Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was quietly seated here, listening attentively from the minister responsible for Home Affairs. I was again quietly listening to my colleagues on your left, Madam Speaker, especially those that are coming from PF. Madam Speaker, I'm rising on number 71, yes, standing order number 71. Number 71, content of speech. Madam Speaker, my point of order is that I'm very worried that the Patriotic Front, who had put our young people on and today I will not be very fast. I want to be very slow so that they listen. Madam Speaker, first I'm on record, Madam Speaker, of telling my colleagues on your left that the three decisions that they made during their reign are the ones that left a huge mountain of unemployed youths. Madam Speaker, these are the same people that had to put our young people. You need to listen. You need to listen. And I'll be very slow.
The
very
Honorable
slow.
Minister.
I'm waiting for them to stop making noise so that they listen.
You can summarize the point of order.
No, I haven't even started,
Order,
Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
members.
Madam Speaker, I haven't even started. Madam Speaker, I haven't even said anything. Madam Speaker, remember that the retirement age in this country was at 55. In case you have forgotten, these are the same people who added another 10 years to the retirement age. Meaning, the 10-year period that they added, these children up there were graduating. No one was getting a space. That's number one. Number two, Madam Speaker, as that was not enough,
The Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts, a point of order is supposed to be brief and precise.
Okay, Madam Speaker.
That is the
Thank you very much. These are the same people who brought the employment freeze. Today, they want to be very kind-hearted. They want to be very good to these young people of this country by saying that now they are kind-hearted to the young people. Madam Speaker, do they have a moral right to talk about the young people of Zambia vis-a-vis employment opportunities in this country when they were not employing these PF, Madam Speaker? I need a very serious ruling. Do they have the moral right to talk about unemployment or employment levels in this country, Madam Speaker?
Thank you, the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sport, for that point of order. Like I was guiding, that point of order was detailed. It became a debate. Because of that, the point of order is not admissible. The Honorable Member for Shangombo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I ask my question, I would like to thank all the progressive members of Parliament who supported Bill 7, which turned into law, and now, today, this morning, the limitation of constituencies has happened, including PF members, progressive PF members. Madam Speaker, I know that we have a president who has tried his level best to unite the country, as demonstrated from his cabinet appointments, all the provinces, 10 of them represented, recruitments in the civil service, all the provinces are included. However, I would like to find out from the Honorable Minister if they can lower down to district level and constituency level to ensure that all parts of the country, when it comes to recruitments, be it in the defense forces, police, teachers, because we have youths in all the constituencies, so that at least each constituency can have a youth who is employed in the civil service. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I'll get questions from the Honorable Member for Kantanshi, Chawama, and Chama South. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As you are aware, this is a very listening government. That is a very good proposal to ensure that every corner of the country can have somebody who's being recruited. We will do that. I'm aware that we are already doing it. If you check, Madam Speaker, under the Minister of Health, under the Minister of Education, under the Minister of Home Affairs, as confirmed by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Nakonde, we are already doing it. So this is a government that looks at all areas, including Nakonde, where the MP doesn't want the people to be recruited.
The Honorable Member for Chawama.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for this very rare opportunity. The Honorable Minister is running a very sensitive ministry. As much as we know that all the ministries are important, but Ministry of Home Affairs is a very sensitive one. Honorable Minister, you have two principal advisors. Permanent Secretary in charge of administration, and of course for technical services. Your key pillar that you mentioned to this House was that you are using the database for 2023. This is very critical for you. You must be aware, Minister, that when you are using such a database, there are certain people that died, other people got different jobs, others have gone to a different country, others fell sick. What was so difficult with you, Honorable Minister, not to re-advertise for the sake of transparency for this nation? You are being screwed now because that was a deficiency on yourself and your principal advisors. That's number one. Number two, if you had made an announcement.
At a time, let the Honorable Minister respond.
No, I'm laying a foundation to this.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to thank the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chawama, who is a seasoned civil servant. And he knows that when you are using the database, you use the data as it is. When you make offers, and if they don't respond, that means they are not available. If they respond, that means they are available, and they must be recruited. Madam Speaker, Further, if those members who have been given and they have been called for training are not available, there will be a vacancy. And will fall upon those who have remained on the database. That is how it is. I'm aware that we run a sensitive institution. And that is why, Madam Speaker, because we're a sensitive institution, we do things differently. Because we take into account that we're a security institution. And that is why you will note that actually the process has been handled in a professional, efficient manner without asking people to bring whatever they have to the... No. And that is why you find that even those who thought they were left out more than 3 years ago are found on the database. And I can tell you, without disclosing, that some of those who are in that database, taking into account that you have accused us, that we are recruiting UPND members, they are children of PF officials. And we have evidence. But we don't want, we are not going to disclose. But if you insist, we will do it. We will do it. We will do it. But because we don't consider party affiliation, as far as we are concerned, they are Zambians and they deserve to be employed. I'm challenging you. Look at the list and tell me whether that list is favoring a certain region of this country. I'm challenging you. Look at it. I have no doubt, Madam Speaker, that even the people of Mukushi South are there. And they are listening that the former MP is raising a point of order. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much.
Before you come in, the Honorable Member for Mukushi South, is that a point of order or what?
Yes, Madam Speaker. Yes, Madam Speaker.
What is your point of order?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Relevance of speech. 71. Madam Speaker, I'm aware that the Minister of Home Affairs has sent a battalion of police officers to go and beat our people because they are perceived to be digging gold. And those people have been beaten, Madam Speaker, such that some of them, right now as we speak, they are even in the hospital.
The Honorable Member for Mukushi.
You have been called by SCC. Stop talking.
The Honorable Member for Mukushi South,
Madam Speaker.
Please take your seat. How is that point of order related to the proceedings of this House?
I'm building the case, Madam Speaker. That man spoke.
The Honorable Member for Mukushi South, please bring points of order that are related to the proceedings, the points of order that disturb the proceedings of this House, not what is happening outside. That is not related to the proceedings of the House. Please find another avenue. We make progress. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And Honorable Minister, thank you so much for the clarifications that you have been able to put across.
Order.
Honorable Minister, quite clearly, you have made very clear, and the nation can actually see the sense behind the exercise that was being carried out. But I think for the people of Kantanshi, this issue of the database, and I'm sure you can underline the word database, it sounds so big and looks so big. Others are asking, you are in the database, but what method is being used to arrive at your name to be considered? Because for you to sit in that database, it means you have met all the minimum qualifications to sit in there. So you're competing with 100,000 people. So what method is being used? Could you please share with us so that we give confidence to our people to cement that ministerial statement? Thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you very much, Honorable. You may recall that in my statement, I did mention that out of the more than 100,000 individuals who had applied for police recruitment in 2023, we had scrutinized, verified 10,000 individuals who could have been recruited at that time if we had the resources. We have the data for the more than 6,000 who remain. That data is at the police headquarters. Obviously, when you are relying on the database, you can't tell them, all the members of the public. You go to the data. There are committees that look at this. They look at those who had remained. Do they still qualify based on, what you want, as a criteria? If they do, then they qualify. Because you have their qualifications, you have their NRCs, you have their phone numbers. And once you vet and ensure that they qualify, you get in touch with them. Yes, they are on the database. And this current system we are using is not different from other institutions as I indicated, like the Ministry of Health, like the Ministry of Education. We are using the same system to arrive at the number we require. I am aware of the concerns that members of the public are raising. I would want to mention that these concerns will be addressed and will not repeat during the process that raises concerns by members of the public. We'll address this. But I can assure you, those who have been recruited have the qualifications and are from all corners of Zambia. Even when I looked at the list myself, when I saw it, I was shocked with the transparency and the professionalism that was exhibited. Because immediately you open the page, just the first page, you'll find one is coming from Shangombo, from Chama, from Kaputa, all areas where you don't think members of the public will have the opportunity. Because we are not looking at where is this person coming from, who is he, who is she. They were looking at the qualifications. That's why I've challenged all of us to look at that list and tell me the flaws. But I can tell you, in terms of the face of Zambia, this particular list has the face of Zambia, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. We have exhausted the questions. We make progress. Questions for oral answer understanding order number 80. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 310.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Mukosi of Chinsali asks the Minister of Health whether the government will procure utility vehicles to ferry the health workers at Chinsali General Hospital. Our response, Madam Speaker, the government acknowledges that Chinsali General Hospital, which is a level 2 hospital and a provincial referral facility from Chinga province, and this is just located about 25 kilometers from the CBD. Due to limited housing at the hospital premises, most staff members currently reside in the CBD, creating transport challenges for health workers. Madam Speaker, it is important to note that under the National Fleet Management Policy of 2019 and Cabinet Circular number 8 of 2018, official utility vehicles are not permitted for ferrying officers from their homes to workplaces. These measures were introduced to ensure accountability, reduce misuse of government vehicles, and promote cost efficiency across ministries and agencies. However, recognizing the unique circumstances faced by Chinsali General Hospital, the government, in collaboration with the means of transport and logistics, is actively considering the procurement of a staff bus as a stopgap measure by Q3 of 2026. This bus will not, of course, operate from door-to-door ferrying these health workers, but they will have to be picked at a central point, which they will have to agree as a designated point. Madam Speaker, this intervention remains subject to the availability of funds, but it demonstrates government's commitment to balancing adherence to fleet management, which are rules that have been set in place, with the practical need to support frontline workers in delivering of essential services to the people of Mchinga province. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thank you for the response. And I do acknowledge that, what you have stated, that the government has intentions to procure, or according to your specific words, you said they are actively considering purchasing a staff bus for medical professionals in Chinsali who work from the General Hospital to be transporting them from Chinsali Boma to the General Hospital. Now, Honorable Minister, actively considering is one thing. Putting the money in the budget is another. You have stated that this purchase is going to happen subject to availability of funds. But I would like to find out from you, Honorable Minister, the 2026 budget, does it have an allocation for the purchase of a staff bus for Chinsali General Hospital workers? Because in an event that that allocation is not there in the 2026 budget, even if the government is actively considering to purchase, then it is not going to happen in the third quarter of 2026. So I would like to find out if the allocation for the purchase of a staff bus for Chinsali General Hospital workers is there in the 2026 budget. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member may wish to know that the civil servants are usually allocated transport allowance and fuel allowances, and these are usually paid through the payroll system. On their pay slip, that component is there. That is just an addition to the stopgap measures that the health workers in Chinsali can actually consider, because it is part of their incentives that the government gives. Secondly, the Honorable Member may wish to note that the government, at the moment, we have a fleet of vehicles that are coming, including state-of-the-art ambulances. Some of these will have to be distributed across the country. In addition, we have also a number of utility vehicles that are on their way for the Ministry of Health. And Chinsali will be one of those that will have to be considered. So in the 2026 budget that the Honorable Member is referring to, I have indicated that this is a work in collaboration with the Ministry of Transport. Obviously, when we have these allocations, there will always be some monies that are always considered for such kind of activity. Not only that, Madam Speaker, our constituencies also have allocations for motor vehicles, and we have the primary health services that have been devolved to the councils. So the Honorable Member can engage the council, even using part of our CDF, to consider procuring a minibus that can be ferrying such kind of health workers so that they're able to offer their services needed at the Chinsali Level 2 Hospital. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the President of this country, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and the entire New Dawn government for giving not only the people of Chama, but almost the entire country, fairly distribution of new constituencies, which are based on technical assessment. No wonder, Madam Speaker, I say those who argue with President Hakainde Hichilema and criticize him, even as he is now opening Mulungushi textiles, they must have something wrong in their heads. This is a president that knows what he's doing. Let me thank also the Minister of Home Affairs for the most transparent recruitment of police officers. I've looked at that list, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you'll be shocked that people are distributing fake lists which are showing only names from Southern Province, which is uncalled for, Madam Speaker. This is the reason why I wanted to ask a follow-up question. That list includes everyone in the country. I think we can't build a country by promoting regionalism through propaganda. We are very grateful to President Hakainde Hichilema. My question, Honorable Minister, considering that the location of Chinsali Hospital, which I know very well, is quite far, as you have said, from the people, are you in a position maybe to allow certain perimeter of the land around Chinsali General Hospital so that private individuals can come in or maybe be rezoned into residential so that private individuals can come in and build houses there? Because there's a market for accommodation. Is it possible that as a ministry, you can put a ceiling of the land that you require for today and future use so that you allow certain parcel of land to be used for the construction of houses, which I know even the Honorable Member is the biggest investor in Chinsali? He will be able to do it. Are you able to do that, Honorable Minister? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I was just whispering to my colleague, the Honorable Member for Chinsali, Madam Speaker, concerning the delimitation, and he has confirmed to me that he has been given another constituency, which he must really thank the government, because through that, there is a possibility that what the Honorable Member is asking for engaging the private sector And this government has been on record encouraging stakeholders to be partners, the private sector to be partners in development. And that is an opportunity when we have an extra constituency. So there will be more funds going to that constituency or the district. So it is open. The honorable member and those who have to be with him, they can engage the private sector. I have been to Chinsali Hospital. The land is actually vast. So there's a possibility that once we engage the private sector, they can build own to rent or rent to own facilities. And that is something that can be considered. Of course, it is not necessarily the Ministry of Health that has to initiate that. We have the local authorities and the Honourable Member of Parliament who can actually initiate that. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The next question, the Honourable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 311.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Miyutu is asking the Minister of Education, A, how many teachers of Forms 1 to 4 classes were employed countrywide as of December 2025? B, whether the number above was adequate to effectively implement the new curriculum. C, if not, whether the government has any plans to employ additional teachers. D, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And if there are no such plans, why? A, as of December 2025, a total of 7,440 teachers were employed to teach at senior secondary level, Form 1 to Form 4, in public secondary schools across the country. However, Madam Speaker, the figures do not include teachers recruited under the 2025 net teacher recruitment exercise, as the process has not yet been fully concluded. B, Madam Speaker, the number of teachers available was not adequate to effectively implement the curriculum in all schools, particularly in rural areas and newly upgraded secondary schools where shortages are more pronounced, especially in specialized subjects such as mathematics, science, and technology. C, Madam Speaker, the government has plans and has continued to employ additional teachers in order to improve staffing levels in secondary schools and support the effective implementation of the curriculum. D, Madam Speaker, the implementation of the plans commenced in 2022 when the government resumed large-scale teacher recruitment, and this has continued annually to support the implementation of the 2023 education curriculum to address staffing gaps in schools across the country. Further, recruitment will continue in subsequent years, subject to the availability of resources. A, Madam Speaker, in view of the response provided but C, this question does not arise as the government already has ongoing plans to recruit additional teachers in order to improve the teacher-pupil ratio and ensure effective curriculum delivery. Madam Speaker, the government remains committed to strengthening the education sector through continued teacher recruitment and equitable deployment. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honourable Member for Chifubu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, we want to appreciate the New Dawn administration for the massive recruitment in the teaching sector that have come from 2022 to date. How has the recruitments from 2022 to date managed to bridge up the gap on the teacher-pupil ratio? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Indeed, Madam Speaker, we have managed to close the gap, although the gap is still not too narrow. But we can imagine from 2022 to now, we have more than 42,000 teachers. It has never happened that way in the history of this country. Never. And those are human beings, they are not bananas. Huh? More than 42,000 teachers.
The Honourable Member for Kalabo Central, you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Minister is saying those are human beings, not bananas. Honorable Minister, in your response, you have indicated there are certain subjects which seem to be a challenge in this country, where we have critical low staffing levels. So, in these recruitments, I don't know whether you managed to handle it. The recruitments from 2022 to 2025, how much do you think you have catered for those subjects like sciences and mathematics? How much, what could be the fraction of the teachers in those recruitments? Because most of our schools, Madam Speaker, those are the subjects which seem to be a challenge. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
In those 7,440, actually mostly were mathematics, science, and technical education, except that the secondary schools which have been upgraded are quite many as well. For example, in 2023, most of those teachers were science teachers, but we still need to recruit more. You will recall that when we recruited 30,000 teachers, 25,000 teachers were primary school teachers. As we know, when we opened up free education, most of the kids who came to school were at primary level, and 5,000 was for secondary school. And in that, 2,500 were science-based teachers. But in 2023, many of those teachers were science-based, but we still need some more science-based teachers. I thank you.
Thank you. Motions, the Honorable Member from Lobezi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts a report on the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies on child online protection measures in Zambia for the 5th session of the National Assembly, for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on 9th April 2026.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Milanzi. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies on child online protection measures in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 9th April 2026. Any debate? The Honorable Member from Lobezi.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with these terms of reference, I set out understanding orders 206B and 207 of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024. The committee considered the topical issue entitled Child Online Protection Measures in Zambia. Madam Speaker, in carrying out its task, the committee engaged with 22 stakeholders in line with this topical issue. Madam, allow me to begin by furnishing the House with some brief facts about Zambia's current digital landscape. Zambia has experienced an unprecedented wave of digital transformation. By June 2025, the Zambia Information and the Communication Technology, ZICTA, reported more than 24.5 million mobile subscriptions and over 113 million internet subscriptions, translating to a mobile penetration of 119 connections per 100 inhabitants and an internet penetration of 64 connections per 100 inhabitants. Further, the 2022 National Information Communication Technology Survey revealed that 71% of children with internet access used it primarily for social networking, followed by watching movies at 58.1%, studying at 50%, researching at 49.3%, and downloading materials at 44%. These findings highlight the growing role of internet in children's education, learning, creativity, and social interaction. However, Madam Speaker, the same technology that empowers children also exposes them to danger online scams, cyberbullying, grooming, trafficking, and exposure to harmful or manipulative content are now common realities. It is against this backdrop that the committee resolved to undertake a review of child online protection measures in Zambia. Madam Speaker, having laid the basis for the committee's report and considering that members had time to read it, allow me to comment on some of the key findings from the committee's engagement with various stakeholders on this topical issue. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to know that despite the existing of reporting channels, the reporting of child online abuse remains low, largely due to limited public awareness, inadequate digital literacy among children, parents, and caregivers, and the weak coordination among responsible institutions. In this regard, the committee recommends the implementation of sustained nationwide public awareness campaign to actively publicize existing child online abuse reporting mechanism. The committee further recommends that the government should ensure the consistent functionality, resourcing, and monitoring of toll-free helpline to guarantee reliable access to reporting and response services. The committee observes that child online protection in rural areas remains underdeveloped and insufficiently prioritized, largely due to prevailing assumption that children in communities have limited access to mobile phones and the internet. This has resulted in gaps in prevention, awareness, detection, and the reporting mechanism, as well as weak integration of rural context into national child online protection strategies and the data systems. In this regard, the committee recommends that child online protection measures be explicitly extended to rural areas and hard-to-reach areas through targeted prevention, awareness, and the reporting interventions. The committee observes that limited digital literacy among parents and guardians present a major challenge, as they lack the technical knowledge required to install, configure, and manage parental control tools effectively. This often renders the tools ineffective and allows children to bypass established controls. In this regard, the committee recommends that the government should implement targeted digital literacy and parental empowerment programs in various languages to help parents and the guardians with practicals to install, configure, and manage parental control tools effectively. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to state that Zambia has made commendable progress in establishing a strong legal policy and institutional framework for child online protection. However, the challenge, such as limited awareness, enforcement capacity, infrastructure gaps, and the rapid technological changes persist. Addressing these requires sustained investment in digital literacy, technical capacity building, and the community-level outreach. By implementing the recommended actions and fostering continuous research and innovation, Zambia can create a safer and a more empowering online environment for all children. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, allow me to place on record the gratitude of the committee on all the stakeholders who tendered both written and oral submission. The committee also wishes to thank you, Madam Speaker, and the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and the support rendered to it. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Milanzi.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Honorable Chairperson of the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies. In doing so, I wish to highlight a few critical issues. Madam Speaker, the first issue that I would like to address is the National Digital Safety Curriculum. The committee observed that digital access among learners is increasing rapidly, yet digital safety education remains inconsistently delivered and is not a core learning outcome. As a result, many learners lacked the knowledge and skills to identify online risks and seek help when exposed to harm. In this regard, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Education should enforce mandatory integration of digital literacy and online safety education into the national school curriculum to strengthen understanding of online risks and appropriate protection measures. Madam Speaker, the second issue that I would like to address is the Internet Service Provider safety features. Madam, the committee observed that most households lack network-level tools to filter harmful online content, which leaves children exposed when they are outside supervised spaces such as schools. In this regard, the committee recommends that ZICTA should develop and enforce regulations requiring internet service providers to implement family self-filtering systems supported by transparent opt-in and opt-out controls, clearly defined content categories, and compliance monitoring measures that safeguard user privacy. Madam Speaker, lastly, allow me to comment on sustainable financing for child online protection. The committee observed that while the National Child Online Protection Strategy for 2025 to 2029, supported by cooperating partners, provided a comprehensive framework, its estimated budget of $1.8 million United States dollars remained insufficient to ensure nationwide coverage, particularly in rural and hard-to-reach areas. In this regard, the committee recommends that the government should strengthen domestic financing by establishing a dedicated budget line for child online protection under the Ministry of Technology and Science and ZICTA to support sustained implementation. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to maintain my support for the motion and urge this House to adopt the recommendations of the committee as they are key to enhancing child online protection measures in Zambia. I beg to support.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chirubi, you wanted to know whether we have a quorum? Yes, we have a quorum. No, because you wrote me a note, so I'm saying we have a quorum.
When you have gotten, that is what is said in the standing order. When you have gotten permission for virtue, I have only seen one individual there. And I don't know what others are doing, because this has become a virtue.
Order, Honorable
Yes.
Member for Chirubi. Can we be orderly? Are you trying to raise a point of order? Are you trying to raise a point of
Yes,
order?
I'm raising a point of order.
What is your point of order?
Can I raise it? Yes.
What is your point of order?
My point of order is in our own rules. Yeah, that it is stated by the Constitution that we will make our own rules. And the standing orders say, when you have gotten permission for virtual, you need to be on camera. And it has given conditionalities. It is just the proposal that is removing that particular concept. As things stand, the 2024 standing orders indicate that you are supposed to be on camera for you to even be marked as present. I have seen that we as members of parliament have become very casual. Me, when you have given me that facility, when I'm in Chiruvi, I always look for a conducive place to make sure that I am on camera. So we are creating a bit of animal farm where we find that some people are counted as present when in actual sense, because they are on virtual or something like that. But
have you verified on that, honorable member,
because
that you are creating animal farm?
No, because this thing is sure.
No, the honorable member for Chirubi, now you are going out of order. All the members that are given credentials, when they log in, they even show the video. Just like we have the honorable member for Lundazi. Otherwise, I think what is important, we have a quorum, and we can see some members attending virtually. So we make progress. Any further debate on the report? Any further debate on the report? The Honorable Minister to respond. The Honorable Minister for Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to wind up the debate and to wholeheartedly support the adoption of the report of the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies on Child Online Protection Measures in Zambia, presented for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. First and foremost, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for according me this opportunity, indeed, as I said, to wind up this very important debate. And I also thank the able chairperson of the committee, Honorable Engineer Raphael S. Mavenga, MP, Youth Chairman, together with the entire membership of the committee, all honorable members who really contributed to this important debate, and the witnesses who appeared before the committee and provided valuable submissions on this topical issue of child online protection measures in our country. Madam Speaker, our children must be protected in cyberspace, even as that same cyberspace offers them unprecedented opportunities for growth and development. The committee report clearly demonstrates that while Zambia has made commendable strides in digital transformation, we must now move with equal agency to shield our children from the real and present dangers that lie online. The report, Madam Speaker, the report rightly notes that by June 2025, Zambia had over 13 million internet subscriptions and a mobile penetration rate of 119 per 1,000 inhabitants. Children are among the most active users, and 71% use the internet for social networking, while 58.1% for watching movies, and also 50% for studying, and also 49.3% for research. The digital space has opened doors to quality education, global connectivity, innovation, entrepreneurship, and cultural exchange.
It has the potential to equip our young people with the skills they need to compete in the fourth industrial revolution and to contribute meaningfully to the Vision 2030 and the 8th National Development Plan. Yet, Madam Speaker, as the report on the National Child Online Protection Strategy of 2025 to 2029 both highlights, these opportunities come with very, very serious risks, and cyberbullying, online grooming, exposure to harmful content, child sexual abuse, material scams, trafficking, and mental health challenges. Our children must enjoy the benefits of digital age without becoming victims of its darker side. Madam Speaker, Zambia already possesses a robust and forward-looking framework to address these challenges. In collaboration with the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, the National Child Online Protection Strategy 2025 to 2029, launched in November 2025, provides a comprehensive roadmap. It is anchored on 6 strategic objectives. Number 1, strengthening multi-sectoral coordination in the digital environment. Number 2, enhancing inclusive access and usage of online products and services. Number 3, establishing a safe online environment. Number 4, increasing awareness and education on digital safety. Number 5, harmonizing and strengthening the policy and legal framework. And number 6, enhancing reporting and response mechanisms for online child protection. The strategy is supported by strong legislation, including the Cybercrime Act number 4 of 2025, which criminalizes child sexual abuse, online grooming, and electronic harassment. The Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022, which also makes teachers and caregivers mandatory reporters. The Cyber Security Act number 3 of 2025, the ICT Act number 15 of 2009, and several other complementary statutes. Further, the ZICTA has been empowered to regulate internet service providers, and enforce notice and take down procedures for harmful content. Madam Speaker, the 2026 annual work plan of the National Child Online Protection Strategy translates the strategy's commitments into concrete, actionable steps. This House, Madam Speaker, should note that this House should note the plan with approval, as it provides for the establishment of provincial, district, and also community coordinating committees, the deployment of 25 communication towers in underserved areas, the equipping of 90 primary and secondary schools with ICT devices fitted with child safety features, nationwide digital literacy programs, the development of age-appropriate content, and the upgrading of Childline 116 into an integrated national hotline for child online protection cases. The plan further includes the establishment of online reporting portals, end-to-end victim support frameworks, and the training of 300 school corporates. Furthermore, the National Multi-Stakeholder Corp Committee, whose terms of reference were finalized in January 2026, will provide the necessary coordination to ensure effective implementation and also minimize duplication of efforts. The committee brings together state and non-state actors, including internet service providers, mobile network operators, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, traditional leaders, and development partners, in a comprehensive whole of society approach that is very essential for the successful protection of our children in the digital environment. Madam Speaker, honorable members who agree that child online protection is not a luxury, it is a constitutional and moral imperative, because Article 24 of the Constitution of Zambia guarantees the protection of children from abuse and also exploitation. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of Child and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, to which Zambia is a party, impose on us the duty to create a safe digital environment. The committee has done very, very excellent work. Its observations and recommendations are very timely, Madam Speaker, very practical and actionable. They call for stronger enforcement of existing laws, accelerated digital literacy, enhanced parental involvement, and sustained investment in ICT infrastructure that is both inclusive and very safe. Madam Speaker, I therefore urge this House to adopt the report in its entirety. Let us send a clear message that Zambia is very committed to protecting its children while fully harnessing the transformative power of the digital revolution. Our children indeed deserve a cyberspace that empowers them, not one that endangers them. With these few remarks, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you most sincerely for giving me this opportunity. I beg to support the adoption of the report.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Mulowezi wind-up debate.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I would like to thank the Vice Chair for having supported the report, and also the Honourable Minister for the support that he has given us. And I would like to urge all the parents, or all of us here, that we should help in this particular area, because these children are being abused every day. They have been abused before, they are still being abused, and again, they will continue to be abused in the future. So it's our responsibility to ensure that these online protection measures are actually implemented to prevent our children from further exploitation. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies on Child Online Protection Measures in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 9th April 2026. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Next motion. Pardon? It's a point of order? Yes. There is an indication for a point of order. The Honourable Member, Katombola, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for according the people of Katombola constituency to raise on a very serious point of order, premised on Standing Order 139 of our Standing Orders 2024. Same is directed, Madam Speaker, at the leader of government business, the Right Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Madam Speaker. Today has been a landmark day for this country, Thursday, 16th April 2026. And as a result, 70 constituencies have been delimited in the Republic of Zambia. Landmark and historical. Is a Vice President in order, Madam Speaker, to remain quiet there and not inform the nation that the Patriotic Front constituencies, the constituency run by UPND, the whole Republic of Zambia, Madam Speaker, has received 70 constituencies, and which translates in increased CDF and more ambulances, more development in the... Is she in order, Madam Speaker, on a very serious note, to sit there quietly? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Order. The Vice President is in order. Because ECZ, really, they had the whole morning talking about the conclusion of the delimitation exercise. So it was just going to be a repeat. So Her Honor, the Vice President is in order. So by prior arrangement, this motion will be moved by the Honorable Member for Masaiti and seconded by the Honorable Member for Chama North. The Honorable Member for Masaiti.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Indeed, it is with profound gratitude that you have accorded me a chance that I beg to move that this House adopts a report of the Committee on Agricultural Lands and Natural Resources on the review of the state of farm blocks in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on 14th April 2026.
Is the motion seconded?
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Chama North. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources on the review of the state of farm blocks in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th April 2026. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Masaiti.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with the Standing Order 206, subsection A of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, the committee undertook a study to review the state of farm blocks in Zambia to better understand the topic. The committee interacted with several stakeholders who tendered both written and oral submissions before it. Based on its interactions with the various stakeholders, the committee has made a number of recommendations on the topic, which are documented in the report. Madam Speaker, I am confident that honorable members have read the report. Therefore, allow me to highlight only a few of the committee's observations and recommendations. Madam Speaker, the committee has observed that with great concern that the absence of a dedicated and standalone legal policy framework to govern the development of farm blocks in the country, the committee now holds the view that the absence of a specific policy and legal framework is negatively affecting the development of farm blocks in the country. In this regard, the committee implores government to, as a matter of urgency, put in place a comprehensive policy and legal framework that will be specific and tailored to support the development, construction, and rehabilitation of farm blocks in the country. Madam Speaker, the committee also observed that there is no specific and independent institution that is mandated to coordinate and oversee the implementation of the farm block development programs in the country. The committee is of the view that this institutional gap is the reason farm block development programs have not received the required attention from the executive. In this regard, Madam Speaker.
As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a healthy break.
Thank you very much for still watching Parliament TV, the station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. The House has taken the usual 20 minutes break. We do expect business to continue at 17 hours. And at the time business was being suspended, the Member of Parliament for Masaiti constituency, Mr. Michael Katambo, was moving a motion. This is a motion to adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources. You recall that a little earlier on we did indicate that this motion was going to be moved by Member of Parliament, Mr. Michelo, but the presiding officer, Madam First Deputy Speaker, did say that there was prior arrangements that Member of Parliament for Masaiti moves this motion. So he's moving that motion, urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources on the review of the state of farm blocks in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th April 2026.
And when business commenced at 14:30 hours, Madam First Deputy Speaker did make 3 announcements. And we had a ministerial statement that was presented by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And the House has so far considered 2 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80 and a motion that was moved by Mulovezi Member of Parliament, Mr. Raphael Mavenga. And so we'll be able to share with you the details of what will be considered on the floor of the House when the House adjourns. Just now we go on a break. Keep watching Parliament Television.
The National Assembly of Zambia has continued to push its drive in decentralizing its operations. One way of achieving that is through the parliamentary constituency offices, which are present in all the 156 parliamentary constituencies. The establishment and construction of parliamentary constituency offices was a result of the parliamentary reforms which are aimed at strengthening democracy. In the recent past, with the increased Constituency Development Fund, CDF, some councils have used their one-off allocation from the CDF to construct parliamentary constituency offices. The constituencies that have benefited from the construction of parliamentary constituency offices through the CDF include Lundazi, Kanchivea, Kawama Central, and Solwezi West. The arrival of the first Deputy Speaker, Malungo Chisangano, MP, in Kalumbila District was to mainly officially commission the Solwezi West Parliamentary Constituency Office, which took place on Monday, 23rd March 2026. Madam First Deputy Speaker was welcomed into the district by Kalumbila Town Council Chairperson, Mr. Shadrick Mujunga, who was accompanied by Kalumbila District Commissioner, Kalumbila Town Council Secretary, and other senior officers in the district. Mr. Munjunga said that the construction of the Solwezi West Parliamentary Constituency Office was made possible using funds from its 2024 Constituency Development Fund CDF allocation.
This building, madam, is a building that has been done, constructed under CDF, constructed and also putting all the features into place using CDF. No any other resource has come to that, it's full-time CDF. That shows that CDF is really a game changer. And as a team, with everyone, we have been running up and down to make sure that everything is put into place. And let's assure you that all whatever was supposed to be done, we have managed to do it.
In expressing her gratitude for the warm welcome into Kalumbila District, Madam First Deputy Speaker said that the National Assembly was proud of the Council for having succeeded in constructing the Solwezi West Parliamentary Constituency Office using its CDF.